When you're going through trials in your life, you gotta speak resilience in your life.
A poem entitled The Other Side by Tessima J. No eyes should see what I had to see. No ears should hear what I had to hear. I heard and saw things that broke my heart. Too young to recognize the weight of its impact at the time. Too old to not forget the pain inflicted upon me. To save my mom, to stand in between. I place my soul there since my body is too small to make an impact. I hate anything and everything that would cause you pain. Is it acceptable to hate someone who was placed in the household to raise me up? I can only imagine the questions that were asked. To show me what it's like to be a man. Who shows me what it's like to be a man? Where is my example when no physical one will suffice? How hard is it to climb my ladder of manhood when there is no one to hold it in place? Do I trust God to be my foundation? Do I trust the only things I've ever known? Do I rebuild a new legacy for my family? Where do I find my roots when they've been drenched in weeds? Christ is the only way out, the only way through, the only way to my destiny. Growing up in it, I found me. God waited for me. He reminded me of who I was purposed to be. Now I take a moment to remind others of the same. Forward, pay it. Hello, my podcast peoples. It's your girl, Tessima, also known as Speak Resilience, in the building. Thank you so much for checking out our video podcast experience that we're having. We are celebrating and highlighting featured authors who are a part of the 2021 Impact and Influence Authors Conference. I have on the show today, I'm so excited for the amazing Ronnie Lackey. Thank you so much, Ronnie, for joining us on the podcast today. I am really looking forward to all the great things we have to share. How are you?
First, thank you for having me. I'm doing great.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, this book you have written, even though we start off the podcast, we have all this excitement, this energy, but we're going to dive into some pretty serious stuff with your book. So, viewers, I want you to know this is the time to learn about something that impacts people all over the world: domestic violence. The name of your book, Ronnie, is Growing Up in It: How Domestic Violence Almost Killed My Mother and Destroyed Our Family.
Yes.
That's already a powerful name in itself. Share with me what inspired you to write this book.
Um, I just felt like, the story needs to be told. In our culture, we're so content on the secret. And I believe that, when you hide that secret, it just becomes generational and it just continues and continues. And everybody just keeps that secret. And I think it's time to stop, break that chain, and, let that secret be told.
Wow. What I think is so wonderful about what you say is it is a secret in so many households. I know that's something that I can identify with in my own family, friends and family members. Something that's dominant specifically in the African American community, but I have international friends, so I know it's happening in other cultures as well. What I'd like to ask you is, what was the most surprising thing you discovered while you were writing this book?
Um, just with my writing coach, learning how to actually write the book itself. I had a different view of what it was to write a book, and then once I actually sat down with the writing coach, it was a big eye opener.
So, what, in your opinion, are the most important elements of good writing? So, you had a writing coach. This is really cool. So that's why I'm curious to know what do you understand about that process now that you could share with our viewers?
First thing that always stands out to me now that I'll tell anybody, you have to be when you talk about writing a book, you have to be very detailed. For me, I just came in when I first wrote my outline. I call it an outline because it wasn't a book when I first wrote it.
Mhm.
Uh, it was basically just an outline of points and direct, like, hey, this happened, and this is how we got through it. It was very, very little detail, and she was like, I'm gonna need more. She's like, I need to know, like what day was it? What time of day was it? What was going on outside? And at the beginning, I just couldn't get that. Like, why you need to know all that for? This is what happened.
Exactly.
So it was a
So
fight.
it sounded like it caused you to take a little bit of a deeper dive into whatever your circumstance was or whatever the thing was that you wanted to share, which obviously is pretty powerful in walking through the journey of being a child growing up in a domestic violence environment. That must have been difficult to lay all of those details out that way. But it looks like you've done just that in this amazing book. I have to ask you, to any aspiring writer, right? What is the most valuable piece of advice you can offer that you wish someone had told you when you were starting out?
Um, well, like I say, the first thing is be detailed. Um,
Hmm.
Also, when you're writing, you know, be open to change and open to advice. Others can teach you stuff that you might not know. I know it's your baby, but that's what I had to learn between my writing coach and my wife. We were button
Come through,
heads.
wife. Come through, Miss
Yeah,
Nicole.
my wife, she took the brunt of it because she's like, well, I think, what you're saying is true, but if you say it this way, it'll come off better. No, when I first was writing, I was no.
Yeah.
Then we get with the writing coach, and she read it. She's like, well, what if we say this? And my wife's in the background like, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it took me bumping heads with them for a little while to finally opening up. And I think what it was, it made me, like you were saying earlier, it made me dig deeper into the actual situation instead of just briefly skimming over it, telling you the points. What really, it made me dig deeper into it. And I don't know if I was ready to dig deeper into it like that, but it opened me up to do it.
Absolutely. Um, I have to ask you, who is your hero?
My mother,
Yeah. Yeah.
because even in a bad situation, she still was a very powerful woman. You know, even during the situations, she at work every day, teaching us about, the type of person to be and what she would want us to be in life and giving us structure. And, back then, they didn't play them games. Parents didn't play them games. So, she was still strict on us, even though, it's like, okay. And, I battled with it for a little bit that you'll see in the book. You're reading a book like, okay, if you could be on me like this, what are we doing here?
Exactly.
So
So I think that's what made me kind of ask that question. When I think about the title of your book, when I hear you talk about your writing coach and I hear you talk about your wife, it sounds like you were just surrounded by a team of people who were loving and who just had your back and always having your best interest at heart. That's why I had to know who your hero was. I'm glad that you shared it with me. And obviously, your mom just being this amazing person that you needed to share this story. I have to ask you this question then, which is kind of strange, but I'm an artistic person, right? I'm this poetry, sing, dance, act human, right? So
okay.
I'm always curious to know if your book were a song, who would be the singer?
Huh. My book who would be the singer? I would say David Ruffin.
Woo. Come on now, David. I have to ask you why. In my heart of hearts, I feel like I already can answer that question, but I would like for you to share with our viewers. Why David
Oh,
Ruffin?
I mean, one, I'm a big Temptations fan, and David Ruffin is my dude, and he just brings when he sing, you feel it. So I feel if he was to sing my story, everybody would you would get it. Just like, okay, I understand totally.
The soul. What I love about David Ruffin, it's not just the soul of his voice. You can feel his soul coming out as he sings. It's powerful. It's riveting, you know. And I believe that is exactly what people can expect in reading your book. So, where can people find growing up in it? Where can people find this book?
Right now, I'm independently selling it on www.ronnielackey.com. You can go on there. It has the pay button. You just hit it and pay
And live
however you
your
want
best life.
to.
Yes. Yes, people will hit that button and live their best life and get your book. www.ronnielackey.com. You guys can see the name spelled right down bottom there. Check it out, check it out. And I just want to absolutely thank you, Ronnie, for taking the time to join me on the podcast and just sharing the amazing vision and the story and just the story, a little bit of the story behind the book. So I'm grateful that you were vulnerable with some of that. And I believe so many people in our culture and in our society need to read this book and need to have it, hold it close to their hearts. Super grateful for the remarkable Rhonda Knight and the fact that she has joined all of you amazing authors together for the 2021 Impact and Influence Conference. Thank you so much again for joining me. You guys, again, I'm Tasima, also known as Speak Resilience. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Check me out on all the social media platforms. And a special thanks to Jimbo for the intro and outro to the podcast. Please make it a great day, you guys. Thank you so much. And we're out. Thank you.
Bye.
Three things. Register for the 2021 IIAC at LadyKnightEnterprisesPublishing.com. Attend for free all weekend, March 26th through the 28th at the Embassy Suites Gwinnett, 2029 Satellite Boulevard, Duluth, Georgia. You can also find info on how to buy a book from one of our featured authors, become a VIP member, and become a vendor if slots are still available. Check out Firefly Poetry Night with DJ Stacks B on the ones and twos, held every second Wednesday at Gillies The Spot, 4343 Dunwoody Parkway in Dunwoody, Georgia. Our featured poet of April is Q. Come and check her out. Stacks B Entertainment provides entertainment on Friday nights and Sundays, so check out stacksb.com. Don't forget to follow her, like her, tweet her, subscribe, and support her, sister. For more info on this and all events, check out Speak Resilient.